Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, with daily insight on the Nasdaq-100 index, or the NDX, which is made up of 100 of the largest domestic and international non-financial innovative companies listed on the Nasdaq stock market. The NDX has been the barometer for U.S. large-cap growth and also one of the best-performing indexes over the last decade and a half, not to mention one of the most liquid index ecosystems in the world. Joining this Tuesday afternoon, we have Shawn, Cruz, manager of trader services at TD Ameritrade, to discuss Nasdaq-100 performance trends in the Nasdaq Volatility Index and, of course, VOLQ. And Shawn, let's kick it off with what you're seeing in Nasdaq-100 and VOLQ, because they're certainly performing quite the divergence of performance with the 100 and the other indices.
Yeah, the thing about what we're seeing with this pullback that we've had over the past 2 days is, one, there was a lot of data that's come out lately, especially on the inflation front, and then on the employment report front, that you would have expected to maybe give markets a little bit of a pause, and it didn't really. We didn't see quite that reaction. It seems like as we got a lot more signs of inflation up the pipeline over the weekend, that did cause a little bit of a stir in rates and a little bit of a pullback. But this feels like a somewhat orderly pullback in that you're still seeing price levels that were previous resistance when they were broken through. You saw it move down to sort of that next significant price level. And we've seen it sort of bounce off a price level that we have had going back into April. So this does feel orderly just in terms of what we're seeing. The big thing I'm watching for today is just seeing if we can get a close here above, at least around that 13,340 level. I think that's going to be one key level that was previously resistance. If you look at the chart, that if we can close above there, then maybe we can start to at least consolidate here, and you'll see that maybe drive some investors back into the market. Looking at VOLQ for other levels that I think are going to be interesting to watch. Watching for a close in VOLQ down below 2350. That looks like a pretty significant level too. When we do break below that, it does show sort of a different regime in terms of investor uncertainty. So those are some of the key levels I'm going to be watching, at least from the Nasdaq 100 overall, and then also for VOLQ to maybe give a signal that sentiment is turning around, and you should expect to maybe see investors flowing back into some of these tech names.
And we've also been covering semiconductors over the past couple of weeks. Anything new to point out there?
Yeah, I think for semiconductors, and I know there's been a lot of discussion around looking at some key support levels out of some of the other major tech names, but looking in semiconductors as well, I think that's also another sector where you are just seeing sort of consistent breaking through of some previous support levels, but then you are seeing previous resistance levels actually hold up as well. And it doesn't really matter if you're looking at NVIDIA, if you're looking at Intel, if you're looking at Broadcom. A lot of these names, we've seen it pull back, break through some levels that we had seen it trading through before, but we're now seeing new support levels hold. And when you start to see support levels hold, not only at the overall index level, but also at some of the symbols that make up the index, especially some of the bigger market cap weightings in certain areas like these names in semiconductors. Like I said, I think that can lead to overall stabilization in the market itself, and that will bring maybe some investors who pull back a little bit to the sidelines just to see what happens here. Once you start to see stability across a lot of these names at certain price levels, that can be the catalyst that then causes more funds to flow back in. So certainly going to be watching to see how we close today, and especially through the end of the week to see if we get some support here and some consolidation.
All right, Shawn, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.